Hello and welcome to Get Started with Microsoft Teams. My name is Carol. I'm a training specialist here at Microsoft, supporting the Teams Customer Experience Group. And this group exists solely to make sure that you have a great experience in Teams. And today's class is going to be about getting started in Teams. So let's jump right in. So in today's class, we're going to be talking about setting up your profile and notifications. We'll use chat and calling for both one-on-one and group conversations. We'll share and collaborate on a file. We'll also schedule and conduct a meeting. And we'll take a look at teams and channels and how those work out. So first, let's do a quick overview of Teams. You're probably today in your environment without using Teams, you're probably chatting and you're collaborating and connecting and working with people day in and day out, but you're doing this in a variety of different places. Maybe you're chatting, maybe you're emailing, maybe you're attending meetings, maybe you're listening to recordings of meetings that you weren't able to attend for some reason, or maybe you're working with each other through a collaboration application of some kind to manage a project or working on a file together. And today you're doing all of those things in a variety of different places and different windows, different platforms that don't necessarily talk to each other, right? Well, what's unique about Teams is that Teams brings it all into a one-stop shop for you, making it super simple for you to create a comprehensive space for you and your team to work on common work together, right? So if you're coming from the Skype environment, the idea of managing your contacts, chatting and calling, hosting and attending meetings all from the same platform is quite normal, right? But Teams takes it just a little bit further and actually allows you to not just share content, but store it and access it and collaborate and co-author it at the same time, which is a great opportunity there, really saves time. And then also Teams offers a unique way to manage projects, processes, people, work groups in one space, but yet in a naturally organized fashion. We'll look at that today. And then finally, you can also integrate those third-party business applications. So of course you can integrate your Microsoft O365 applications. Those are available to you. But in addition to that, maybe use third-party apps that were not made by Microsoft, not developed by Microsoft, and they're part of your day-to-day function due to your industry or your role. Maybe you're in HR and you use Kronos or ADP to help with HR benefits and functions within your organization. Or maybe you're in a help desk environment and you're actually working with a ticketing software like Zendesk or Freshdesk or ServiceNow, right? Many of those third-party applications are available right within Teams, and Microsoft has worked with those companies to build the code under the hood so that you could create that truly comprehensive one-stop workshop for yourself. All right, so now that we have that done, let's take a look first. We're going to talk about chatting and calling. So from a chatting perspective, you can easily do one-on-one and group messages. You can find your past messages. You can just resume right where you left off. It's great. We call that persistent chat. We'll also take a look at your ability to use rich text formatting and graphics and GIFs and emojis and stickers. You can have a lot of fun with those and really make your messages stand out. And we'll look at app mentioning or tagging people so that you can bring something specific to someone's attention. And you can also, we'll show you how to attach a file and collaborate on that. From a calling perspective, well, we'll look at how you can set up your contacts and review your calling history as well as your voicemail, and look at the dial pad as well, how you can make calls. All right, let's see it in Teams. So here we are in Teams. I'm going to do a quick navigational overview before we jump into the demonstration. We have our profile right up here. That's where we're going to start today. You have a search bar here. If you can't find something in Teams, this is a great place to start looking for it. Right here on the left rail, this is what we call the left rail menu or the left menu or the purple menu. There's a lot of names for it. You can see I have a lot of things turned on. Of course, I'm demonstrating. I'm demonstrating in a sandbox environment, so I might have available features that you don't have, and I have everything turned on. So if you don't see all of these icons, not to worry. You might want to reach out to your IT department to learn more about getting access to those. This is the left pane. This is what I call my to-do list. And this is the staging area. This is where all the action happens. All right, so let's start with our profile here. So as you can see, I'm logged in as Grady Archie. That's my alter ego when I'm signed in demonstrating for Teams, and you can see he's a beautiful dog. You can change your picture right here. It's very menu driven. I want to spend a little time on status here. So your status is automatically updated based on your Outlook calendar. So is your Teams calendar. Outlook and Teams are synced. Now, you may be having some trouble with that. If you're coming from a Skype environment and Skype is still on your network, then Outlook can only point to either Teams or Skype. It can't point to both products. So if it's still pointing to Skype, then your Teams will not update automatically, and you'll have to set your statuses in order to update and sync Teams for the time being. So to do that, you can just pick the status you want and click on it. That will change the status. You can come back in and click on the one that you want after that. If you are actually synced with Outlook, then all you have to do is click on Reset Status to keep it synced. All right, let's take a look at Set Status Message. So this is a pretty neat idea. This is the idea that when people hover over your name, a message will pop up, right? Or if they're getting ready to type something in a compose box to you, that message will pop up and they'll see it. So this is great for if you're going to be out of the office or you're going to a conference, or maybe you're going to have unusual hours of operation. Then that's a great way to let people know. What's really cool about this particular option is that you have a retention you can set. So you can even set a custom retention. So this way, in case you're one of those people like me who sets, I'm out of the office today, and then 3 days after you're back, then you remember to take off your status message, right? You can set a retention so it will retire on its own. You can also use this feature here to let people know when you're out of the office. They'll get a little pop-up down here on the compose box. Now, we're going to go over settings next, and that's all we're going to cover today in our profile. And you'll see there's other items in here. Feel free to click around and learn at your own pace on those. I promise you can't hurt anything. So let's check out settings. This is where you set up everything to be, your notifications and your display and everything to be what you need it to be to function in Teams. So here you can choose dark mode or contrast. I prefer the lighter mode. You can choose your language of choice. You can also set up your delegates. So if you have people that support you, they schedule meetings for you, they return chats for you, that sort of thing, they set up teams for you, then you may want to set them, you want to add their names in here. And if you're somebody who supports someone else, you should see their name here. And if you don't, you'll want to help them get to this place right here and set your name up. This is just being able to set somebody up. I have Adele, my Grady's colleague, set up to be able to ping Grady if he were in a do not disturb status. So she's the only one that has that availability. Then you have your notifications. So as you can see, there's a lot going on in Teams. So there's a lot of different reasons to be notified. And we all have our different thresholds of what works for us, whether you're somebody who wants to be notified for everything that happens, or one of those people that you're good about checking on things on your own. You don't need a noisemaker to help you with that. So given your personal recommendations for yourself, I'm only going to go through a couple to give you an idea of how I set mine up. So with the personal mentions, I did set that up with a banner and an email. I could have just done a banner or shown it in the feed, but if somebody has actually mentioned my name, I want to know about it. So this way I will get a pop-up in the bottom right. That's what a banner is. Of course, I'll get an email, and then I'll also get a notification in my activity feed over here. Now, on the other hand, with channel mentions, I don't need to know that instantly. So I have that showing in the feed, which means it's going to show up in this activity feed up here. And I check that every day, multiple times a day, so I will get that information quickly. And I'll let you go through the rest on your own and decide how you want your notifications to show up. And then we have your calls. So this is just setting up what happens when somebody calls you. If they do you want a simultaneous ring where it rings your desktop and it rings your cell phone or your home phone at the same time? Or would you rather have it forward to your phone if no one picks up at your desktop? Or would you rather have a voicemail and you're able to configure that voicemail as well? All right, so that's your notifications in a nutshell. Pretty cool. Let's take a look at chatting. So before we jump into chatting, I kind of want to give you a lay of the land here. So we have this sort of quad center. We have recents and contacts and pinned and recent. All right, so let me define each first. So recent here, that whenever you start something new, whether it's a meeting or a chat, individual or group, or you installed a new bot, whatever it is, it's going to show up under recent. And everything under recent is in order based on activity. So the most recent activity I have is this work from home check-in meeting here. And then it just goes down this list. As you can see, there's less and less and less activity in each of these meetings and chats and bots, right? So that's what recent is. You can't actually pick these up and move them. They're based on an algorithm of the most recent activity. Now, on the other hand, you can take these, say that they're important to you. Say this trip to Boston is important to you. I can use the 3 ellipses and I can pen it if I want to. Well, it looks like I've got too many penned already, but I can use this feature to pen. I can also hide. A lot of people ask, can I delete a chat? And you can't delete a chat, but you can hide it. And oftentimes that's why we name our chats so they're easy to find. Okay. All right, so let's look at our pinned items. So here's our pinned items. You can move these. You can put them in any order that you would like to have them in. So I like to refer to this as my to-do list because I can organize it the way that I like. So there's 4 icons here. You can have a meeting. These purple icons are all meetings. I like to have those at the top. And then an individual will just have their picture or their initials in it. So you can see this is just Alex. This is Adele. And group meetings will have a divided circle. So these are all group. This one's not. I'll bring him down here. So I've got my meetings, my groups, my individuals, and then my bots. If you're curious about what a bot is, please join us for Learn to Use Apps in Microsoft Teams. All right. So I've got this all organized the way I want to. Then I have contacts, recent and contacts. So if I go to contacts, if you're coming from Skype, here's your beloved contact list. It's still there. You can still get to it. And when you click on each of these people, you will see the persistent chat, right? So you can always pick your conversation up right where you left off. It's always contextual. It's always right there in place, so you can pick right up right where you left off. Now, I spend most of my time under recents and pinned. And the reason why is because this is really where all my work is. Under contacts, I can only get to those individuals. Whereas under recents, I can get to my meetings, my groups, my individuals. I can move them around based on priority or order. I'm one of those people who I unpin all of my meetings for yesterday and repin the meetings I have today. So that's what I always have at my top, and I kind of know what my list is for the day then. All right, so let's start with chatting. So I'm just going to click on this. If you've never chatted with anyone, then you're probably going to start right here with this box with a pencil in it, right? So we'll start there. And I'm just going to bring up my conversation with Alex. So you'll notice as I type Alex's name, the type ahead brings up recent conversations. So I'm going to go to my one-on-one conversation with Alex. When I do that, my persistent chat with Alex shows up. So I can just start right back where I left off. I put my cursor in the compose box, everything sets. So I want to do a quick navigation here. So we've got Alex, we have chats and files. Everywhere you go in Teams, you're going to have a place, whether it's a chat, a group chat, a one-on-one, a meeting, or a channel, you will have a place where you can share a conversation and where you can share content or a file of some kind, right? Now, in a one-on-one, you get these two extra options. You have organization. This is just a bird's eye view of where somebody is in the organization. You can see that from Outlook as well. And then also activity. This is just a compilation of everything that Alex and I have done together in Teams. That's kind of nice. I can see all the work we've done together. It's great. You can also add additional tabs. So Alex and I have added Trello here. We're working on a trip to Florida. So this is where we're at in that process. All right. We also have our phone icon and our video icon. So you can have your conversation here in chat. You can progress that to a phone call or a video chat, right? And down here you have plenty more icons as well. We'll go over those in just a little bit here. So let's just see what happens if we add somebody to our one-on-one chats. And before I do that, I just want to mention all of your chats are private, whether it's a meeting, a group chat, or an individual chat, they're all private. So when I add somebody in, I'm just going to add in Henrietta. There she is. Add. When I do that, my entire previous chat conversation with Alex, like chat history with Alex went away. My apologies. And that's because my conversation with Alex was private. And so when I added in Henrietta, it created a new staging area for us. Henrietta, Alex, and Grady have never had a conversation together. So this is all, it's blank. So this is a new starting spot. As you can see, it created this draft right here under recents, right? Created this draft. It's letting us know that this is the most recent activity we've had. Now, from here, I can jump right back to my conversation with Henrietta. There it is. Or my conversation with Alex. There it is, because I've pinned them. And I'm not actually going to use that one, so I can go to the 3 ellipses. I can discard something that hasn't actually been written in yet. All right. So that's a one-on-one. Let's check out a group. So I'm going to create a group. Here's a scenario here. We have a conversation here with Adele, Alex, and Pradeep. And they've been working on something. You can see they've had quite a bit of activity going on. You can see all the red notifications, right? But they're going to be working on a new project where they're pitching to a new client and in the ice cream manufacturing business. So I want them to have a separate place to converse about that so that their day-to-day conversation is not commingled with their project conversation. So we're going to go up here, we're going to click on the chat window, and I'm going to type in Adele, and this is my previous chat with Adele and Alex. And it looks like Adele, Alex, and Grady have never had a conversation together. And then Pradeep, like that, and there's their previous conversation. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to this drop down. It gives me the option to name this group, which will create a separate and distinctive area for them to work on this particular project. So I'm just going to call this the ice cream manufacturing project. I think we have spell check, right? There we go. All right, I'm going to come down here, put my cursor in the compose box. I have a brand new place for everybody to work. All right, so I'm just going to come in here and say, hi team, I created this secondary space for our project. So now everybody gets that conversation. Everybody will be able to see the name of this project and the name of this chat, right? And maybe I want to share some content. So I'm going to share here this marketing plan. We can get started on this project with this content. Can't get that period in there. There we go. Okay. All right. So now we've uploaded some content and we've sent a message out. And let's see, what else do we have down here? Well, I've got this, I can open my compose box here, right? So this is this little A here will open and close my compose box. And when it's opened, it gives me access to all these rich text formatting tools. Now, most of these you're already aware of. You know how to bold and italicize, right? There's a few others in here. Some of these we wait until our Learn Tips for Taking Teams to the Next Level to go over in depth. So you might want to join that. But today we're just gonna look at some formatting options, right? So maybe we want to start with just some team rah-rah spirit, right? So let's get this. Let's get this group going. All right, again with that spell check thing, I'm just going to come in and bold and underline and italicize. Maybe I want to actually make it bigger. Maybe I want to italicize. There's too much going on. I can change the color of it. Okay. And then I can come in and use this little horizontal rule to really make it stand out. Maybe I want to ask a question. You don't have to use this for a question, but this is just a cool little shadow box. I just think it helps make something stand out to somebody. So we can just say, question for the group. Would you rather use Trello or Planner as the project management application? There we go. Now notice as I hit enter, by the way, this is just a carriage return. It doesn't actually enter the content that I've written, and that's because I have my compose box open. So I have to use the paper airplane over here so I can send that. So let's say that, I meant to put one other thing in there, so I can come in here, use these 3 ellipses. I can edit or I can delete if I want to. I'm just going to go ahead and edit. And I meant to bold the 2 applications like that. And then I can just save it. And there it is. All right, so you can really make things stand out. You also have this exclamation point. It has a few options. Now this is configurable. You may not have an exclamation point or you may not have all of these options, but you can make something important and people will get, and you'll see, I think we had one over here a moment ago that that had an important message in it. And you can make something urgent. You'll notice it notifies the recipients, all the recipients in this meeting every 2 minutes for 20 minutes. So you've got to be careful about that one. And then you can share a file. We just looked at that using this paper clip. We've got some emojis. I think the emojis are fun. The animated ones are fun. I like this dancer. And let's see what else we've got here. And the present is kind of fun. Maybe the dancing penguin. There we go. If you do 3 of them, they stay kind of big and then they all constantly move. I think that's fun. You also have these neat little reaction options. So you can come in, you can say, oh, I really like that, or I love it. It's funny. I was surprised. Maybe you were sad by it. Hopefully not. Hopefully you weren't angry. Let's hope that doesn't happen. And then of course you have Giphies and stickers. We'll go over those a little bit more when we do meetings. You see a lot of other icons down here. These are things that I've installed. So we have Disco, Rike, Zoom, Poly, SurveyMonkey. So you can install those as well if you'd like to. And if I click on the 3 ellipses, you'll see there's other applications. Some of these come with Teams, but they can be turned off by your IT admin. But the ones that come in stock, if you will, are news, stocks, weather, places, and praise. But the rest I installed. All right. So let's see what happens. We had some fun formatting. Let's see what happens when I add somebody to a group. So here's all my folks. So you see, I can leave if I want. By the way, since it's a private chat, guess what happens when you leave? You can't get back in. It's private, right? So let's see what happens if I add somebody. So I'm just going to come in and look, I have an option here. I can either not include any of the chat history or include a certain amount of chat history, maybe 2 or 3 days or 14 days, 2 weeks worth or something. or I can include all the chat history. So this again, the reason this is here is to protect that privacy of that group. Okay. All right, so that's chatting as a group. Let's check out calling. So this is the call menu. I just clicked on the call icon here on the left-hand left rail menu. And you can see I've got my speed dial group, and I can add to that using this icon or this button here. And then I can create new groups. You can see here I created the Learn and Development team, right? And if I go to my chat and I go to recents, you can see they show up here as well. So that's kind of nice. I also have my contacts. So here's my contacts. I can add more, I can search. I have my history, my calling history. I can see Adele's called me a few times. I can just call her right back or chat her right back if I want. I can see my outgoing and missed calls. And then I've got my voicemail. So I don't have any voicemail right now, but if I did, I'd be able to read the transcripts or listen to it. Then I have a dial pad here. So a lot of people ask, how come I don't have a dial pad? Well, you'll have a dial pad if you have a calling plan. If you don't have a calling plan, then that means that you're doing all of your calls using VoIP or voice over internet protocol. That's an internet phone call versus using the old-fashioned analog system. All right, let's go back to our deck for just a minute. So let's talk about meetings. So meetings in Teams are interesting. You can set them in Outlook, you can set them in Teams, you can have them one time or reoccurring. You can invite internal and external folks, you can share live apps, you can take notes, you can record and access content. The really cool thing about this is that you can do it all in one contained area. All right. So let's see what it looks like. There we go. We're in Teams. I'm going to start by scheduling. Here we go. So we've got, this is an Outlook calendar invite, right? And so you're familiar with this. I just click on the Teams icon. Now you may have a Skype icon and a Teams icon. If you click on the Skype icon, you will be having a Skype meeting. You'll have to join from Skype. If you click on the Teams icon, you'll have to join from Teams, right? And we go over the details of using the meeting options and all of that in our Run Effective Meetings class, so you'll want to make sure you take that. Today's session is really just a high level of scheduling and conducting a meeting. So a lot of people ask me, how come there's a dial-in? I don't have a dial-in. That's part of that calling plan. If you want a dial-in feature, you'll need to get a calling plan to do that. But you can join from this link. Even guests can join from this link. It'll take them to a web version of Teams. They won't have to download or pay for anything, and they can join right up. All right. So why would you use Outlook? Well, Outlook is good for those people who are delegates and setting up meetings on behalf of others. It's also good if you're using a distribution list. So those two things are not as easy to do in Teams as they are in Outlook. All right. You can also schedule a meeting right from a chat. So let's say that you have a distribution list of 50 people, and those 50 people also have a group chat. You can come right down here to this icon. See, it looks like a calendar with a plus sign. And when I do that, it opens up a full form and it preloads everybody in the chat. So that's one way to avoid having to type in all their names. That's one way. Then also right from the calendar. So before I schedule a meeting, I just want to show you a few things. This is what the calendar looks like. You can choose to look at it a different way, day or week or work week. You can look at dates in advance by months this way and by weeks using this little toggle here. And if you want to sync back up, you just click on today and it says right here, you're up to date. You can click right on the calendar to schedule a meeting if you want, if you already know what day and time you're going to have this. And you've got this Meet Now feature. We won't go over this today, but that's a way to schedule a meeting that doesn't have an actual time and date associated with it. So it's kind of neat. And when we do our Run Effective Meetings class, we do a little shout out to live events. But today we're going to schedule a meeting. All right, so we're going to talk about that ice cream manufacturing pitch. There we go. Go ahead. There we go. Now I'm going to invite the usual people. So let's see. I had Adele, and I had Pradeep and Alex. There we go. Oops, there he is, Alex. Now you'll see I have a suggested quick pick, but it's based on today's date, so I can pick a different day if I want, and then that suggestion will be based on that date. I can choose a repeating option. I'm pretty familiar with that. I can add a channel. We go over that in our Learn Effective Meetings class, or Run Effective Meetings class. You can add a location. If you are used to meeting in a conference room, then this is where you would find those. I can look at my scheduling assistant up here and see, oh, this is not a good time. I'm going to pick a different time on Friday. And we can see that everybody's available. I can continue to add people, optional folks, as well as locations. And if I wanted to invite someone externally, I would just use their email address just like you do in Outlook, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and send this. I'm good, happy with that. And then here it is on the calendar. So from here, I can right click on this and just go to chat with participants. So this is where everything stays contained. So they've received a calendar invite. Hi team, created this meeting to discuss the upcoming client review, right? So now everybody's gotten that chat, but it's all in one-stop shop. I can share the content here. Please review this information prior to the meeting so we can spend our time collaborating, right? Oh, I gotta spell information right. It's one of those things. All right, so there we go. I just share that. Now we shared content. And maybe I'll do a little Giphy here on ice cream. Some of this is just a little too realistic, right? There we go. Or I can do a sticker, you know. Let's see. How can we get creative? There we go. Now I can change this. There you go. There we go. I can send that one. That's fun too. All right. So options. All right. So so we've got that all sent. You notice just as a quick overview here, I can join the meeting from here. That meeting details page where I set everything up, I can get to that from here. So here's all of my application options during the meeting. I can see who's accepted. I can also pin this meeting. It's probably way down at the bottom. Or maybe because I've already sent a chat, it's at the top. That must be what's happened. Here it is. So I can pin that. Oh, I have too many things pinned. Let me unpin something. There we go. Move that up here where I can see it. There we go. All right, so let's join the meeting. I've also got chats, files, meeting notes, and whiteboard. So I'm just going to go ahead and join. I could also, by the way, add someone right here, add people. So now I am in my meeting. And as you see, I got a counter. I can turn on my video, my audio, can use my share tray to share my desktop. From my desktop, I can share any one of my screens. I have 3. Or if I want to share by application, I can do that. Or by Microsoft Edge tab. Also in the share tray, there's some preloaded content. So I'll go ahead and just share one so that we have something to look at. And then using my 3 ellipses here, I can take meeting notes right here. So ice cream pitch. I can come in. I have all my rich text formatting options. And I'm just going to do a bulleted list and say, whoops. Oh, Patty's not in this meeting. Adele is in this meeting. Adele is responsible for finalizing the deck. And then I can, I can continue to mention people if I want, right? So I'm creating my task list. I can start the recording. I can also get access to my live chat and conversation that we've had thus far and continue that conversation while in the chat. And I have my participant controls as well. No one's in this meeting with me, so I can't really show you much there, but we go deep into Run Effective Meetings in our Run Effective Meetings class. I can page through my presentation this way, right? Notice when I started the recording, we all got this banner, it says notifying us, so now we're legally compliant. All right, and let's say you want to multitask. You can just come over here and click on chat. And if you want to have a conversation with another group, or you want to have a conversation with another person, you can do that. Your meeting's just right up here in the corner. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And I'm going to end the meeting. Okay. All right, so that meeting is baking. See, everything's still in that one-stop shop for you. Well, let's just say that Pradeep wasn't able to make it. Sorry, you couldn't make the meeting. Please review the recording and notes to get caught up. There you go. So now we've done our pre, during, and post-meeting responsibilities. Let's take a look at that collaboration by file here. So I'm just going to run in here. Just clicked on file. So here I am. Here's the file I shared, right? So notice anybody can come in here at any time, during the meeting, before the meeting. Once the file's been shared, it's available to everyone. So they can come in, they can use this tool right here, turn this toggle on and off, right, which allows them to co-author. So they've got a couple of options here. People can leave comments right on the slide if they want, or they can use this feature and have all the comments off to the side. And then the person who's responsible for bringing all that information together, slide to slide throughout the deck, right, will be able to do that slide by side and incorporate everybody's remarks and information. You can also see your live chat conversation right here. And from here you can, you can open this in, let's see if that wasn't showing for some reason. You can open this in the desktop version or the browser version. And if you do that, it will still save to this version in Teams. Now, if you download it, it creates a separate copy. All right, we're going to close that and everything will save. And then Pradeep can come back. He can look at the meeting notes. If we'd use the whiteboard, he would be able to see that. He can go back to chat. That meeting's still baking. But let me show you one that is a reoccurring meeting. So this is what a reoccurring meeting looks like. All of their meetings were recorded. They shared a lot of content, information here. You can just click on that, any of these meetings at any time. A lot of people think, wow, that is a lot of memory to use, to have all those meetings stored in there. These are all actually hosted on the cloud. So these are hosted on Microsoft's Stream. So Teams itself is a portal, it's a pass-through. It's not actually hosting all of this information. All right, that's meetings in a nutshell. Make sure you take the Run Effective Meetings class. All right, let's talk about managing projects and work groups. So Teams has a unique option called Teams and Channels. Everybody has this feature. It's always turned on. It's a place where you can run projects and processes and manage people in a nice, robust, and organized manner. So let's first talk a little bit about teams and channels. So a team is kind of like the house. It's the gathering place of everybody that's going to be a part of that group. And the channels are like the rooms in the house. So you have people that are responsible for cooking in the kitchen and people who are responsible for eating in the dining room or sleeping in the bedrooms or watching TV in the living room, right? So each place, each channel has its own function. And um, and teams and channels, the team part can be private, public, or org-wide if you have less than 5,000 people in your organization. You can have owners, members, moderators, and guests, each with different levels of permissions. And channels can be public and private as well. And your conversations are streamlined. They're in a threaded, because you can have up to 5,000 people in a team and channel environment. And so to keep that streamlined, that threaded conversation makes it easier. And you can manage your notifications and your organization of your teams and channels. All right, let's see it in Teams here. So for teams and channels, we're going to move over here to Teams. We do have a new class called Explore Using Teams and Channel, or Exploring Teams and Channels. So make sure you sign up for that because it goes deep into the Teams and Channels overview. All right, so here we've got, I'm just going to close all these up so it makes it easier to look at a minute. So here you have, remember I talked about you can't delete a chat, but you can hide it, but you have to search for it to find it. With Teams, you can show or hide a team, and then it just ends up under hidden teams, right? So each team can be, there's lots of reasons to have a team. You can have department-based teams like engineering, sales, and marketing, or you can have maybe an org-wide team like building alerts, human resources. Maybe you're going to use it for onboarding or something, right? Then you might have a team that's really focused on a process, like the Learn and Development Delivery team. As you can see, they've mapped out their entire process. Each work group has their own working space. Or maybe you want to build a team based on a project. So here's like this footwear project, and they have channels built out specifically for this, right? So they have a channel for tracking their project, for giving each other a high five. They have a private channel to review their finances. And then each contributing group has their own channel to work in. They can build out that tab line to be what they need it to be. This is the sales and market research team. They have a connector in here so they get a daily feedback about what they're working on, articles on what they're working on. And then they have a meeting built into this team. So they have meeting notes or into this channel. And then they have tabs to track their sales and their marketing analysis. And they have an all up project tracking. As you can see, they have a meeting here as well. And their conversations are threaded. So the chats look a little bit different. Like in a chat conversation, they look more like a text message. And this is threaded. It's a little bit easier to find information if you have a lot of conversation going on at the same time. Let's see if I can't show you one, but we have a lot of threaded conversation in here. A lot of people about now are like, how did you make those banners? You definitely want to, here's one that has a threaded conversation. You definitely want to attend our Learn Tips for Taking Teams to the Next Level or the Teams and Channels class if you want to learn more about how to do these banners and how to embed this meeting in the chat. All right, so these are all really neat options, right? You have ways to come in and manage your teams. You can delete a team or edit. You can also come in and manage your channels. You can pin a channel. So this channel I've pinned up here, so it's easy access, right? It makes it easy for me to get to it because I don't work in all of these channels. I only work in these 5 channels, so I've pinned them, right? You can add connectors if you want updates from Twitter or something along those lines. And you can build out your tab lines using this plus sign. These are all of those applications that are available. You can learn more about those in the App Store down here. And then you can go to join or create a team. This way you can get to all of your public teams. You can easily join those. Just click on that and you're automatically enrolled. You can find a private team, ask the owner for a code. You can search for it that way. And then not everybody will have access to creating a team, but if you do, you can use this. It's a wizard. It'll take you through the process. It's kind of neat. All right. One quick shout out to the help over here. I like to show this to people. The suggest a feature. If there's something in Teams you're hoping it would do and you can't figure out, is there a feature you want, an application you want, or something along those lines, you can come in here and make a suggestion. You can see that people vote on them. So it looks like over 34,000 people have voted to show video for all people in a video meeting. So where you have all the tiles showing. It's a lot of people for that. You can also use the help desk to look at what new is coming out. So you can see March 20th, we had our Teams calendar showed some improvements. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. So let's talk about devices and platforms. So Teams is accessible on multiple devices, whether you're using a PC or a Mac or an iPhone or an Android or an iPad or the web version. It's always available. And what's neat about this is that the feature function and look and feel across all of those platforms and devices is the same. So even if you have to switch from a PC to a Mac during the day or from an iPhone to a web version, how you access and use and function within Teams will be similar and the same. The look and feel and the feature function will be the same. All right, so what's next for you? Well, next, I think you should set up your profiles and your notifications. Make sure that is all tweaked and ready to go. And then jump right in, send a chat to somebody, share a Giphy, have some fun, format that chat and make it really stand out. Make your next team meeting a Microsoft Teams meeting, and then enjoy engaging in your work group using Teams and channels. That's all for today. And I really appreciate you watching our session today. I hope you'll join us for more sessions. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your week, and we will see you next time.